This video is sponsored by Meta, more specifically, MetaQuest Plus Trial. First of all, I know, two sponsors back to back, look at me go. Secondly, MetaQuest Plus is a subscription service that lets you get more games for generally cheaper on your beautiful Meta headset. You'll get instant access to a catalog of over 20 games on day one the instant you subscribe. You'll receive new titles monthly, giving you something new to explore regularly, so you'll always be able to come back once a month to explore something brand new. You'll also get special perks for being a member, and the cherry on top is you can play together in multiplayer modes or blend digital experiences into your real space with immersive mixed reality. So the sooner the better. Subscribe to MetaQuest Plus now using the link in the description to start enjoying more games while saving money. Bonelab is very different from other games in a lot of really specific ways. One of these ways is that SLZ are perfectionists and put in a lot of detail into every little element of the game. Because of this, there are so many little things about Bonelab most players would never even notice, and this video is going to be focused on those types of things. The information that won't be of any use to you, the info you'll share with your friends that results in them giving you weird looks and ultimately being disappointed at the person you've become. Without further ado, here is some useless Bonelab information. The kunai knife actually has a form of aim assist. This isn't the traditional aim assist where it locks onto enemies, but instead it auto straightens itself out when thrown, so it's impossible to make it spin infinitely multiple times in the air without something touching it in midair. Brennan JLA has talked about a cut level known as Ice House quite a bit, and some people believe that there aren't any references to it left over in Bonelab, but this isn't actually true. There is a redacted ice pick left over in the game still. It actually appears to be fully functional as well, only lacking some polish. The void mode in Container Yard was broken as of a recent update and literally cannot be beat at the moment. I can't grab it, I can't... What in the fuck? There were two little Easter eggs on Moonbase that were since removed as of patch 4, but used to be in patch 3. One being this happy little tennis ball, and another being the mysterious cogwheel. The cogwheel used to be an absolute bitch to get out, so maybe it's for the better that they removed it. As of patch 4, new optimizations were added to the game, one of which being the ability for rigid bodies to fall asleep when they aren't moving. This saves on performance a good bit, but what's interesting is that the player rig can actually fall asleep as well if it goes completely motionless. Using the ragdoll mod, if your body remains still for a brief moment, you'll notice that you can no longer move your fingers as the rig is asleep. It wakes up upon unragdolling or doing literally anything, thus making this information serve no purpose at all. The katana slash damage is set to a ridiculously high number internally, making it probably the strongest weapon in the game. It's actually set to such a ridiculously high number that it's even able to kill green null bodies with relative ease. As of one of the recent updates, the Duck Season avatars have been updated so bits of their head no longer protrudes in front of the player's vision. Used to be a big ass nose that showed up in-game, but they fixed that and now it just looks normal. There's a redacted avatar called the Poly Debugger that shows a bunch of nerd statistics. This was seemingly used to debug some stuff before launch and wound up staying in the game files even now. The katana actually has a Korey X Kenshin logo on it, and this is because SLZ liked the videos he did during Duck Season. And this change was actually a change made all the way back during Duck Season's life that has stayed the same in all SLZ games since. This box apparently has the initials of a child one of the developers had during development of Bonelab. Bonelab was actually split into two games during development. Bonelab was originally planned to release on the Quest 1 before later changing to being a Quest 2 exclusive title. Patch 3 actually mostly still runs on the Quest 1, and I even managed to get Fusion running on it with a video I did a while back. It runs about as good as you'd expect though. Okay, and there goes the fucking tracking. There was an update to Steam VR on October 25th that resulted in Bonelab hands being stuck to the player, making the game completely unplayable for around 3 days. This was later fixed by SLZ with a hotfix. This wall on Ascent is missing collision. This keycard room seems to be a reference to an upcoming game by SLZ known as Hall of the Machine King, based on some of the wording in the clipboards in this area. There's a secret liminal space on Big Bone Bowling, and it's referenced on this sign as well where it says Liminal Prison. In patch 3, if you use the Nimbus gun to load a new chunk, you could easily fall out of the unloaded map. In patch 4 onward though, this was changed so that if you Nimbus to a new chunk and release the Nimbus gun, the game will actually freeze everything in place until the chunk is loaded so that you'll no longer accidentally fall into the void. Jimmy Wong's avatar was renamed to simply say J now. This one most people only know one part of, but on the Valve Index, when you rest your finger on the trigger, it goes all the way down, allowing for you to punch without accidentally grabbing things out of your holsters. While on Quest, you have to press the trigger to make a proper looking fist, which can lead to accidentally grabbing things from your holster. However, just holding grip on Quest allows you to still throw a punch and do the same damage, but it just looks off. If you're on Quest and also think this is stupid, I commissioned a code mod that fixes it for every headset that has the issue. You can download it via Thunderstore. Avatar mods from older patches still work perfectly fine. Unless they had some kind of special feature, then that feature specifically might not work, but the models themselves should all still be working no matter what version they're from. There's an unused health pickup item left over in the game files. I'd imagine this would have been used if the game had some kind of mode that didn't allow for automatic healing, but I guess we'll never know. These Monogon Motorway achievements focused on getting the best time have swapped icons. The gold trophy should be for sub 1 minute and 50 seconds, and the silver trophy should be for sub 2 minutes. The launch version of Bonelab had an issue where on Valve Index controllers, your pinky would always be slightly down. Big Anomaly is actually a movie reference, as the level itself has the same layout as a movie called Brazil. So many of you still don't know this, which is insane, but Bonelab is a cross-buy title. This means that if you bought it on Quest, you have a PC version of the game available for you via the Rift Store, just waiting for you to download it, and vice versa. I couldn't think of a fact for this one. In patch 4 onward, a voice line was actually added when new items are spawned and given to the player in arena modes. Little bonus to go with this one, that voice talking is actually Brandon talking, and it's a reused voice line from Boneworks. There's an achievement for letting the noose on Descent hang you to death called Short-Lived. When patch 6 was released, there was a bug that caused Ford to bleed wood, which led to people calling him Pinocchio Ford. Oh! I see the blood when you hit him. Is fucked. This was later fixed in a hotfix, which made Ford a real boy again. In early versions of Bonelab, Ford was unnaturally ugly, and it was so bad that SLZ wound up fixing it in later updates. Regardless of this fix though, patch 3 still had a secret ugly Ford, being the Ford VR Junkies, and ugly Ford's presence would only be completely removed after patch 4's release, which just straight up removed the Ford VR Junkies altogether. The M1 Grand was added in one of the very early content updates we got from Bonelab, and when I say early, I mean before SLZ decided to practically remake the entire game early. This would make it basically the only content update we've ever gotten, although I'm sure in the future we'll have some kind of new official content with whatever the fuck is happening below Mine Dive. Monogon Motorway is actually classified as a mod level. Similarly, Moonbase was classified as a sandbox level back in patch 3, now it doesn't have any special classification though. Street Puncher was and still is classified as a tac trial, and Magma Gate is classified as an arena. SLZ is not currently working on a new game. Bonelab is the main focus entirely at the moment, and that is confirmed by Brandon via this tweet. Although the work done towards Marrow does indirectly affect the next game. In a future update to Bonelab, or potentially even a new Stress Level 0 game, the player is planned to have a physical spine and physical arms. Based off the way Brandon talked about this, it sounds like it's going to make a big difference to the overall game feel in a major way. This is one someone just recently told me, and it amazed me more than it really should have, but when you unsubscribe from a mod on Mod.io, then click the download all button in Bonelab, it will actually delete the mod you unsubscribed from. Why the fuck would they implement this banger feature and hide it under a button that literally expressly says download? The button should be sync mods or something, not download. What the fuck? The Power Puncher is actually spelt wrong in the game and says Power Punker instead. It was like this in Boneworks as well, and rumor has it that the reason it remains spelt wrong instead of being fixed is because it's an internal joke at this point. Wait a minute, the texture, first of all, is a completely different name, Punk Puncher, and then also what the fuck, it's spelt right on there. They just like spelling it wrong in the what? My cock is actually about this big. And this has been 10 minutes of useless Bonelab information.
10 minutes? You shitty scam artist. You didn't even make 10 minutes worth of content. You spent like a minute on the sponsor in the intro, and by the way, we're not even at 10 fucking minutes. You're using me talking to stretch out the time so you can get more money, you dumb piece of shit.
My fault. Anyways, you can get 20% off literally everything on the Quest store using the link below. I also got a browser extension made for it, so you can have it just automatically apply 20% off. I don't know if I'm actually allowed to do that, but I did it anyway, so hopefully we're fine there. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out my last one where I play what I believe to be the best Bonelab map ever made, but if I titled it that, everyone would assume it's clickbait, so it's titled something different. But I'm telling you genuinely right now, I do seriously believe it is the best Bonelab map ever made. It's borderline a fucking indie game. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later, fat bitches.